Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Mind the Mental Monday. I hope that everybody has had a good few weeks. It's been a few weeks since I've been here, so I'm hoping that you guys are still going to hang out with me. And if not live, I hope that you hang out with me on my YouTube page. It's been a pretty harrowing couple of months for me. And I've missed doing Mind the Mental Mondays a couple times. So just to remind everybody, I am doing this on both Facebook and Instagram. And so if you see me looking up and then looking back down, I'm looking up at the Instagram uh, folks and looking down at the Facebook folks. And so just so you know what's going on, that I'm not just sort of all over the place, but there's a method to my madness. So come on in the room. Come on in the room. And I hope that everybody is having a good evening, that you've had a great day. And I'm excited to get into this topic tonight because it's something that we talk about. I think most people, talk about almost on a daily basis. I don't know. I rarely get to a day where I don't hear somebody saying life be lifing, right? With all the, incorrect grammar and all, because sometimes you just got to say things in a way that's not proper grammar to really kind of get across what you mean. So it would have a whole different feel if we said, when life's, I don't know, it just doesn't sound the same as life be lifing. So I'm going to use I'm going to use life be lifing. All right. So I've missed you all over these couple of weeks, but for good reasons. As you all know, if you're following my page, you know that I had a new granddaughter, Capri, and we were excited to welcome her in to this world on May 10th. And it is now June 10th, and she's a month old today already. I mean, time is just going by. Is there anybody else out there that just like, kind of wants to kind of be in control a little bit of time, like speed up when you want it to speed up and slow down when you want it to slow down. So we don't have that kind of control over time, but what that does tell us is that we should take in the moments when we have them, that we should that we should pay attention to we should be present in the moment, right? Because all we have is right now that we know of. None of us knows literally from millisecond to millisecond if we're going to take our last breath. We just don't know it. And so it would behoove us that when life be lifing, that we should uh, take more opportunities to be present. And so many of you already know that. So when my daughter had my granddaughter, I went down to be with the family, kind of help my daughter adjust to being mommy to two, a 2-year-old and an infant. And having remembered going through that myself, I know it is not easy to be running around behind a toddler while you're nursing an infant. It's hard. And so, wanted to kind of be down there and be present with her. be present with my grandchildren. And I also had the opportunity. So my youngest daughter is already down there, but my son who lives in Louisiana, it came, to Atlanta as well and was there with us for a week. So I got to spend an entire week with all three of my children, which is very rare. And in addition to that, of course, my husband, who came a few days later than I did, and as as well as the grandkids, and so it was a really nice family time. And I was really determined, even though I did have to do some work while remotely for my job while I was down there. For the most part, I was able to be present. And it's something that I really have been working on, really being present. And that can be, I mean, in any situation, being present with my husband, when we're having conversations, kind of being focused in when I'm talking to other people, putting the phone down, not being on social media at the same time that I am, engaging someone, really trying to be better about that. Because you just never know. Like, you just never know when even though life be lifing, it's life, right? We're still here. We're still being productive. We're still moving. Um, because there is going to come a time where life, as we know it here on this earth, won't be anymore for us, right? And so it's important for us that as we are going through all of life's transitions and challenges and ebbs and flows, good times, bad times, whatever it might be, that we take the time to intentionally be present. So I took some time. We didn't do Mind the Mental Monday during those couple of weeks that I was away, and unapologetically, because I was present with my family, which is the most important thing to me in this world. So I want to encourage you as well that when you have those opportunities to engage, whether it's with your friends or your family or, loved ones, whatever the case might be, that you take advantage of the opportunity to be present. All right, so let's get into the topic for tonight, when life be lifing. And as I've always said, with Mind the Mental, one of the reasons that I do Mind the Mental Mondays is so that I can be a reminder to people of the importance of minding the mental. Oh, sorry, my phone rang. Sorry, Instagram. My phone started ringing. Um, it's important to remind us of the importance of being proactive about our mental health. It's important to think ahead of time about ways that we can ensure that we're taking care of our mental health, because we understand that that life be lifing. And I think the last time I was here, I talked about some strategies that my therapist had given me that really worked in terms of thinking ahead of time about um, things that we know are coming up. So things that are so let me just start off with sort of a definition of what I mean when I say life be lifing, and what I think most people mean when they say life be lifing. They mean is some of everything. Life be lifing, honestly, can mean some of everything under the sun. It could be, it doesn't necessarily have to be like bad things. It could be that your life is busy, so you are involved in a variety of organizations or activities, and there are all kinds of different things that are happening all at the same time. It could be that your children are involved in activities, and you're trying to juggle making sure you're there for them on a consistent basis while you're also having your own activities that you have to deal with, or work kinds of activities. I mean, it could be something tragic and terrible happens all of a sudden that you just weren't prepared for. You had no idea that this terrible thing was going to happen, and it just hits, and it hits hard. So it could really be life be lifing is really just a spectrum of all of the things, all of the, like I said before, challenges, good times, bad times, ebbs, flows, all of it, just everything, all encompassing of this thing called life. Because most of the time, most of what we face in life aren't necessarily things that we can prepare for. We can try to the best of our ability, but no one can prepare you to be a parent. Um, no one can prepare you for how you will interact in a family that you didn't choose, but it chose you. You were born into it. And so there are people that were born into families that are. I think everybody has dysfunction in family. I just think all families have some level of dysfunction. So let me preface what I'm about to say with that. But there are families that might have more dysfunction, or what might seem like to others to be more dysfunction than others. And there's nothing that can prepare you for it. You're born into it. And as you're born into it, you just deal with it, right? You just kind of figure it out. And that is most of life. What I have come to understand is that most of what I have faced in life has been trial and error. Like, life is just one big sort of trial and error in a multiple different ways, a myriad of different aspects that nobody can really necessarily prepare you for. So there are those times where you find yourself just sort of at a crossroads, and you don't really have the words for what is happening in your life. And so you just say, you know what, life be life. And somebody's, how you doing? How are you? Girl, life, life be lifing. Yeah. And that's because you just don't have words for the breadth and depth of what you what you're going through. All you and because nothing could prepare you for it. You might not even really be fully sure about how you're going to handle whatever it is that you're going through. But what it is important to understand is that life, very often um, just throws at you, things that for which you can't really prepare. And so, and you don't really have the words for it. But even though you don't have the words for kind of what you're going through in terms of how you're managing whatever particular um, lifing that is happening, there are tools that you can use to be proactive about maintaining and managing your mental health as life happens. So, um, and so one of the things that's important to understand, or to think about is to be present when life is lifing. So kind of sit with yourself as life is lifing, and whatever that is for you. When you say life is life, and life just be life, and when you say that, and when you're saying that, in that moment, allow yourself a minute. Allow yourself a minute or more, a few minutes, to sit in it. What actually is happening with life as it's lifing? What do you mean by that? Right? So these are some questions as you're sitting, as you're being present with yourself as life is lifing. Just allow yourself to be still in it for the moment. Allow yourself to think about, what do I really mean? What am I actually saying when I say life be lifing? What does that really mean for me right now in this moment? So, right now in this moment, I am wanting to reconnect with those of you who have been following Mind the Mental Monday and have been listening, even when I don't know that you're listening. Uh, you know, I am wanting, I'm wanting to provide some kind of material that's quality material that makes you think about your thinking, that makes you think about your mental health. So in the moment, that's where I am. And that's where I'm focused. That's where I'm honed in this moment. And by going live on Facebook, on Instagram, it allows me an opportunity to sit with that. Now, I don't just sit with it when I'm going live. I'm sitting with it prior to, but it allows me to sit with it. Like, okay, what is your goal for this Mind the Mental Monday? What do you hope that people will get out of it? I'm sitting with it. I'm in it. And it is a part of one of my life's lifings because it is something that I do feel called to do. So, and even in those times, there have been times where I didn't particularly feel like doing Mind the Mental Monday. Now, in times when I'm actually really sick, I won't do it. But there have been times where mentally, or even like I just haven't felt like it. And so but then as life is lifing, I'm like, wait, there could be somebody who hears a message that comes through. And even if I just spend a few moments to share from my heart, somebody might benefit from it. It could save somebody. I don't know. But I have to, once I kind of sit with that, then it allows me to sort of push through, even in those times that I don't necessarily feel like it. So sit with yourself and ask yourself, what is happening? Write it down. What is happening in this moment where the only thing I can respond is life be life? And because most of the times when you're saying that, there's like multiple things, right? So if you can write out those multiple things that you're dealing with, and then sort of start to think, okay, of these, what's one that I can start to tackle right now? And then go to that one thing, and what is the tool that will help you to begin to manage it in such a way that it's not anxiety producing for you, that's not causing you to be depressed. So, one of the things that we have to do is we know that life is going to life because what else can it do? That's what it is, right? It can't do anything except what it is created to do. It is created, life means that you are living and you're breathing and you're moving. And there's so much that comes with life, with living life, right? So what we can, even though we might not be able to prepare for everything, what we can prepare for and what we do know is that regardless of whatever happens, life is going life. We know that, right? We might not know the specifics in a given moment, but we know life is going life. So when life lifes and I get anxiety as a result of it, what tools can I prepare ahead of time that I know that I can use when something happens and it's anxiety producing? I can use some deep breathing tools. There's an accountability partner that I have that I can contact. There's a good friend, or a relative or somebody that I trust that I can just talk to and just offload some things. Um, what's in your toolkit? We talked about that before in a previous Mind the Mental Monday. We talked about having a toolkit that where you have some tools that you are able to pull out when you're dealing with life's situations, challenges, life's lifing. So eh, being proactive, like not waiting for something catastrophic to happen, but even in those moments where there might be something good happening. Like, for example, so your child might be graduating, right? From whatever, where elementary school, preschool, high school, college, graduate school, whatever the case, right? And you want to be there. Two, you want to do something that's memorable for that person, because you are proud of that person. Well, that can be stressful because sometimes you've got to arrange travel. Sometimes you might be worried about like not having the finances to be able to travel to where you need to go for the celebration. Um, Getting a gift, going out to dinner, like all of those things, having to think about making reservations and just all of the things, like all of those little tasks that come with planning something, big or small sometimes, can be anxiety producing. So when you know something is coming up, when you know that you're expecting something to happen, what are the tools that you have that you can pull out so that before it even happens, you can say, okay, if things get really, really hectic, as I know they're already going to be, these are my three go-tos. I can take some kind of if aromatherapy is something that helps to calm you. One of the things that my therapist suggested to me, which I hadn't even thought about, I was saying to her how aromatherapy really is something that's calming for me. I like candles. I love good smelling candles. I have one, I have one going right now. And so but I can't carry candles everywhere. Like I can't be in a hotel room and like burn. Well, you could, but you know what I'm saying. You can't go everywhere. You can't have candles everywhere you go. So what she suggested was to get like a little small vial of, the essential oils that they have. And they have oils that are like for different different things. And so, you find something that is helpful to you and you can carry that wherever you are, right? You could be on an airplane and you can pull out that little vial of oil and just, put a drop under your nose or whatever the case might be and breathe it in. And if it's, it might be calming for you. That was something that I haven't done it yet, but I am going to do it because it's a really good idea. Because, like I said, I can't be on an airplane and burn a candle, like you just can't. But you can pull out a little oil and sniff it, and or you can get a candle, like one of those little candles, carry it with you. And the candles, if you smell it, it smells. Even you don't have to burn it to smell it, right? So it's like things that seem like small and that can actually help you get through those times when life is lifing. When you're going through a lot of different transitions or going through different challenges that you might be facing, there are those things that you can kind of pre-plan, have in your toolkit that okay, when this kind of situation happens, this is something that can help me get through it. So, what made me come up with this particular topic is that I was, I don't know, last week when I was just kind of just thinking about just the last couple of months and just all of the things that I've been involved in the last few months. And they most of them were really good things, but at the same time, they were, things that could also kind of be sort of anxiety producing, you know, thinking about like how much time I'm gonna, be away from work and like what that might mean and when I come back, what I'm gonna come back to, like how much what I'm gonna have to deal with and that sort of thing. And, in those few times that I didn't do Mind the Mental Monday, it was, I didn't do Mind the Mental Monday again, like when I was away in Africa. I didn't do Mind the Mental Monday when I went to be with my daughter as they were having and her, her boyfriend as they were having their second child. I didn't do it when I got there was a couple weeks, there was 1 week where I was not sick, but I just mentally wasn't with it. I can't tell y'all to mind your mental if I don't do it myself. Well, I could, but it's always easier to to preach it than to practice it. But I'm trying to get better about practicing it. Um, then there was a time I was actually really sick that I didn't do it. And so, those are all things that happen in lives, but you still have responsibilities in the midst of all of that. You still are you responsible for whatever you missed out on when you went to work, when you weren't able to go to work, you're still responsible for things maybe that might be happening in your family. You might have a loved one that you are responsible for or responsible to. And even a lot of those things, the travel in particular were really good things. It catches up with you. Like for me, my body responds, when I'm running a lot, my body will just shut down. My body will literally say to me, Benita, if you don't have enough sense to sit your behind down somewhere, I'm gonna sit you down. And that's exactly what it does. And so sometimes our bodies have more sense than our minds do. And we just have to listen and say, and just sit down. So one tool might be to not wait until you get sick to sit down. Maybe take some time to just sit down. Just take some time to be still. And I think in our culture, it's really hard to just be still because we live in a culture where everything is fast paced. Everybody is working 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, even though that doesn't exist. People are just all over the place. Then you have the added stress of all the political turmoil in our nation, all the wars that are going on across the globe. I mean, like there's really, it's a lot. As a collective, we are managing a lot. And so our brains are constantly going like this. And then we're constantly on the phones, we're constantly scrolling social media, and then we're getting depressed because we're looking at how many followers somebody else has. We're looking at what somebody else is doing and what we're not doing, and we're comparing ourselves and all of that. Sometimes we really need to sit down. And if I was a cursing somebody, I would say something, but I'm not, so I'm not. Y'all can read between the lines, but sometimes you need to sit yourself down. Get off the phone, turn it off. Not during Monumental Monday though, but turn the phone off, turn the computer off, go sit quietly somewhere alone. In my Christian faith, there are so many times where Jesus like would just go off to himself. He'd go up in the mountains by himself, just get away to himself. And he is the savior of the world. So that tells me that in my humanity, it's okay to go sit down somewhere. Like, it's okay. I think our culture, particularly here in America, makes it seem like, you're lazy if you take care of yourself. And that's just silly. That's frankly just stupid. That's just crazy, right? That's just a silly way of thinking, because you can't really do anything well when you're not rested. You might think you're doing well, but you're not performing at the level that you could if you were rested. If you took some time, just listen, it's a timeout. I mean, if you look at the basketball game, the playoffs is happening at the championship. Is it the championship yet? Are we there yet? I don't know, but I think we are. Anyway, anywho, there are times in sports where the coach will, or somebody on the team will ask for, they will do this. That means timeout. So this could actually be a tool for yourself. When you find yourself getting out of sorts and just having so much going on in your mind and too much happening, do this for yourself. Time out. I need a timeout. I need a timeout. I need a break. I need to step away from whatever this is for a minute. And I know I got to come back and face it. I got to come back and finish this game called life. But in this game called life, it's okay to take time out. Because usually in sports, when they take a time out, they take time out because somebody is injured. They take a time out to re-strategize. Like, if they know they getting whooped, a team will be like, we got to regroup. We got to strategize. We got to respond to what's happening to us out here. So we need a timeout so that we can regroup and get back out there. And sometimes they get back out there and they might be down 20 points. And next thing you know, they regrouped because they took a timeout, or because they took a couple of timeouts. They come back, they regroup, they re-strategize. And even in halftime, they take a break. They take a full-on break. They come back out refreshed and ready to go, and then they win the game. Life is a lot like a game. It really is. You don't necessarily, it's the difference is that in sports, teams are able to watch old footage of teams that they're going up against to review, like, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are the things that they were able to do, that where they beat us the last time? Like, where were we lacking, and what did they have that they were able to win the game? In life, you don't have that kind of tape, but in life, you do have experience. And the older you get, the more experience that you have, you are able to kind of look back and see, okay, I've been in this situation before. What worked the last time this happened? What worked the last time I was in this situation? Okay, let me regroup and let me put into play the things that I know worked before. Now, this go around, I might learn something else. And so if it happens again, not only do I have the tools from the time before, but I have the tools from the things that I'm learning in the situation right now. So a part of being present in the situation and allowing yourself to be present in the situation is allowing yourself to learn from the situation. Learn from, when life was lifing like this before, this is what I learned. Well, life is lifing for me right now. What am I learning in it? What am I gaining from? What knowledge am I gaining about myself and how resilient I am, or how strong I am, or how vulnerable I'm willing to be. What is it that I have gained in this thing called life that when life be lifing, I am able to get through it. I'm able to soldier through it. I'm able to utilize the tools that I've learned about myself, and I'm able to put it into play the next go around with whatever your lifing might be. So, sit with it. Ask yourself, when I'm saying life be life, and what is happening? What is happening right now? What is going on with me right now in this moment? And what can I do to get through the situation that I'm in? What are some of those tools that I have? Will affirmations work? If they've worked for you, if they tend to work for you, if when you wake up in the morning or at whatever time of day it is, you are able to affirm yourself. And when you're going through something, which say, for example, I don't know, you make a mistake at work. Well, it's a mistake. I'm human. I can make a mistake. I can learn from the mistake and I can move on from the mistake and I can do great things. Why? Because I've done them before. I didn't come here perfect. I've made mistakes along the way in life, but I learned from them. And because I learned from them, they were worth making. Right. So think about that. Like, okay, I made a mistake. Yeah, we make mistakes, but what did you learn from the mistake? And how can what you learned from it help you to move forward? That's a tool. That is a tool because very sometimes people, when they make a mistake, they don't think about the lesson learned. What they're thinking about is I made a mistake and how terrible it is and how bad I am and I'm not good at this and I nobody's good at everything. You don't get good at something until you have practiced it over and over again. Simone Biles didn't just kind of happen upon who she is and the skill set that she has. She's been practicing since probably like 3 years old to get where she is at in her 20s. So, we as we're moving through this thing called life, as life happens, as life lifes, as life be lifing, what have we learned? What are we learning in those moments? And are we taking the time to be present, even when we mess up, even when it seems hectic, even when it seems like we don't know which direction we're moving in? Do we take the time to kind of sit and be still and be present? So I hope what I'm saying tonight makes sense. I hope that you get what I'm saying tonight and understand that as lives, live. Live, let yourself live as life be lifing, because that is what life is. It's just a whole lot of stuff that is placed in you, that comes at you, but that shows you I can make it. In spite of it, I can make it. I can push through. But you got to be proactive about it and you got to be intentional. Y'all know that's my word. That's a whole lot of people's word, but that's a word that just really means a lot to me. Intentionality is important. If you're not intentional about being proactive about your mental health, then when life lifes, it's going to cause you to spiral downward. It's going to cause you to go into deep depressions and not be able to, to bounce back. So I'm encouraging you to think about it before it all happens. Like, think about all the different things that could possibly happen in life, broad sort of types of situations. How can I handle, what are some tools that I can bring if something happens suddenly that I'm not prepared for? What are the tools that I need for things that I know are coming up that are going to be challenging for me? What are the tools that I need just on a day-to-day basis? There are tools that you should have every single day. Like every day, excuse me, you should be checking in with yourself. Check in with yourself. And that's a part of taking that time out, sitting down somewhere, sat down somewhere, right? And check in with yourself. Where am I? How am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? And hopefully, most of the time, you're feeling great. I think I told you before about the app, the health app on the phone um, that has a program in it where it allows you to check on yourself. And I have it set where, it pops up like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a day where I can just, it's like, how are you feeling? And it gives you a spectrum of gives you sort of a spectrum that either you're not doing well at all from that to I'm doing great. Then it takes you into what's having the greatest impact on how you feel right now. And it has a list of things and things, then you can add things too. So it'll be things like your job or your family, your partner, just a variety of things. And what it does is it makes you stop and really take note of where you are mentally in the moment and what is affecting your mental health in the moment. And what can you do about what's affecting? If you're on the left part of the spectrum where you're not doing well at all, or then what is causing that? What's causing me to feel that way? Hmm. I had a disagreement with my best friend. Okay. Well, what would it take for you to then move from a one to a two? What would it take you to move from a two to a four? Did you say some hurtful things? Do you need to forgive yourself? Did your friend say some hurtful things to you? And do you need to have a conversation with them to kind of straighten things out? Like, what do you need to do to help you to move from that left half of the spectrum to the right part where you're in a good mental space? Only you can answer that. Like nobody else can answer that for you, which is why it is important for you to stop and check in with you, because y'all life be lifing. So when you check in with yourself, what do I need to move myself mentally to a place where I need to be? Do I need to make an emergency appointment with my therapist? Do I again do I is can I is there a good friend, somebody that I trust with how I'm feeling, that I can be vulnerable with, that I can be honest with, that I can share what I'm going through? What is it? It's only you can decide that, what it is that you need to move yourself into a positive direction when life be lifing. Because guess what? Life is always going to life, because that's what life is supposed to do. So I hope that I hope you gained something from this Mind the Mental Monday. Tell me, let me know. Put it in the chat, please. Let me know if this was helpful. Let me know if there are some specific areas of life when life be lifing that you'd like for me to talk about on Mind the Mental Monday, or if I don't have the expertise. Again, as a caveat, I am not a licensed mental health therapist or mental health professional. I am a mental health advocate because I have had experience with the need for therapy and the need to handle some things, some internal things. And I've had the need to look outward to do that. And the need to understand that there's so much stigma associated with it that's unnecessary. So I really want to wipe out the stigma. At least I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that. And so that's why I do Mind the Mental Monday. And I hope that it's helpful to you. And again, so if there's something that if life is lifing for you, you can DM me, you can put it in the comments, but let me hear from you. What are some things that you want to hear discussed on Mind the Mental Monday? And if I don't have the expertise, I certainly have lots of friends that do have the expertise that I can call on to come in here with me and share their wealth of knowledge with us all. All right. So when life be life and live, live. You know why? Because when life be life and you live through it, you're not just living through it for yourself. You're living through it because you will be able to help somebody else when life is life and for them. We are, we have a lot in common. So know that you are not alone when life be life and life be life and for all of us that are living. And um, yeah, when life be life in, live. All right, live. And in order to live abundantly, you might need to get some help doing that. You might need to see a therapist. You might need to see a grief counselor. You might need to take some time off from work. You may have to take some time to yourself, get away somewhere if you have the means and the resources to do that. Whatever it is that you need to do when life be life, and see your spiritual advisor, if that's a pastor or whomever, somebody that you can trust and that you um, feel comfortable being vulnerable with, um, then by all means do it. Take care of yourself. Put the mask on yourself first, and then you can help your neighbor put theirs on. All right. All right. That's it for Mind the Mental Money tonight. Thank you again for tuning in. Whether it was on Facebook or Instagram, or whether you tune in later, go to subscribe to my YouTube page, Benita Weathers 329. You can always listen to, if you missed the beginning of this, you can listen to all of it. It'll be posted on Instagram as well as on Facebook. If you want to hear a little more, if there's something that I said that you feel like could use a little more depth, you want me to go into a little more depth about a particular thing, let me know, okay? Because I know that I'm a mental health advocate, but what I'm not is a mind reader. So, so it will help me to know what your needs are, or what you feel like your needs are, and how I can be, we can partner, how I can partner with you to get to you the information that you think would be even more helpful. All right. So remember to tune in every Monday. And I'm sorry to say, I'm not Monday. Next Monday, I will not be able to do Mind the Mental Monday, but I will be back in 2 weeks to do Mind the Mental Monday. All right. So for those of you that are dads, have a great Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. Whether you're biologically somebody's dad, or whether you've been a father to someone that's maybe not your blood child, but you have fathered them. Happy Father's Day. Be blessed, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Night.